Hello everyone, I'm Chestnut44, also known as Fly, and welcome to this Let's Play of Citizen Sleeper. Last episode we made our way onto the flotilla and did some looking around to try and figure things out. We spoke with the leader of the group, who basically told us, yeah, there's problems on the three main ships, for Ember's Song and Ember's Step, and on Ember's Hearth, well, the refugee ships for those moons, and to try and help them out. We did manage to help out the Pilgrim Seed, so we got some more information from him, but we still need to do work on the other two. We also spoke with Peek and Esh. Esh brought weapons over here, and she needs to figure out what happened to them. Peek wants our help to figure out what is going on with this flux thing that hit the station and everyone else. We have some data. Let's see what she can find from the flux data. Peek receives the data on their slate and begins work decoding it immediately. Sleeper, come look at this. Peek is poring over one of the displays of the makeshift decoding suite they have set up in the Climbing Briar's cargo bay. On the screen, a clump of data pathways, like an ingrown root ball, has started to untangle. This is an existing node corrupted by the flux event. It's totally twisted up. They glance at you to check you are listening. But inside, you watch as the unwinding pathways leave behind patterns of negative spaces, like shadows staying behind despite their caster leaving. Is a whole other data set. Peek's eyes shine bright in the pale screen light. The flux event somehow seeds this data deep into the gaps in the node, wrapping them around it. Why? I have no idea. You watch the screen, the pattern of shadows becoming obvious now as each layer of pathways is pulled away. The flux event itself really did a number on unprotected nodes like this one. Most of the eye's systems are screened against radiation and interference, but these exposed nodes? Torn apart. Peek points to a thick tangle of threads on the screen. Look. Here, it looks like it's been tangled purposefully, but it's actually that all the points within the node have been randomly rearranged. It's as if the node was a bag of ball bearings and the flux shook them. The pathways tried to account for the rearrangement once the system came back on, hence the tangle. Peek pauses as the node continues to unwind. Although, it was less like shaking a bag of ball bearings and more like making them all simultaneously occupy a superposition of every possible position in the bag before locking them back into a new configuration. But that's a technicality. Are we really going to start with quantum mechanics now? Let's not. Does any of that help us? For now, not especially. It explains the damage flux does to systems, but the method is an exotic one. What we need to know is what is causing it, where is it coming from? Peek turns away from the screen, meeting your eye. And there's something else. Have you spoken with the refugees? A little. Peek lowers their voice instinctively. What they are reporting: massive systems failures, cascading collapses of life support, of terraforming systems, total data corruption. The flux shouldn't do that. It can fundamentally rearrange the structure of systems, especially those poorly shielded. But totally collapsing heavy-duty industrial systems, fail-safes and all, that doesn't make sense. Those kinds of systems are built for deep space, for solar flares and radiation. The flux might penetrate them, but any reconfiguration should have been repairable. Peek looks back at the screen where the decoding node lies almost fully open. A shadow pattern of the negative spaces that existed within its scrambled interior darkens the screen, like a set of bruises showing the pattern of the object that made them. I need to look into something. I have an idea what might be causing this wave, triggering the flux, but I need time to research it. Can I help? Peek shakes their head. I'm sorry, Sleeper, but I want to keep this to myself for now. If you need something to do, the flotilla can surely do with the help. From what I heard from Esh, things are tense there. Where is Esh? Peek glances around the bay. Must be out. I've been focusing on this, so I can't say I've noticed. Although the quiet is nice. Give me some time, Sleeper. I'll have some answers soon enough, I hope. You take one last glance at the uncoiling node as you leave, the dark shapes it leaves behind somehow troubling. You try to shake them from your mind. There are things to be done elsewhere. 6 cycles. Peak is researching something to do with the flux event and seems totally absorbed. They'll let you know when they're ready. Alright, that'll be our goal. Well, we do have time to do whatever we want. We can rest here, thankfully. Toss the self-repair in. End of the cycle. And with these rolls, let's see what we can do to help around here. Not the best rolls, but I mean, they'll do. Let's see. We should probably unload these supplies. Let's see what we can do here. Someone comes to help you unload for a while, making the work go quicker. When you ask their name, they ignore you. What's going on? Interesting that it's red. Okay. There's a loose crowd around the supplies you have unloaded and a tense mood brewing among them. You sit nearby on the edge of the shuttle's docking tunnel, resting. Further away, crews from Ember's Song continue their lives as usual, coming and going, trading, discussing. There's a quiet efficiency to the hub, set up as a common space for the swarm of small ships from Ember's Song that are part of the flotilla. Unlike Hearth or Steppe, there's no one capital ship for this moon's refugees, just a mass of individuals traveling in concert. We told Hearth we didn't want their scraps. The jeering voice comes out of the small crowd nearby. You turn to see a gaunt, pale man wearing the industrial work gear you have seen many of the strong refugees wearing. You hear me? These supplies are here to help. Oh, how noble of you, coming out here to help us singers. There's a rumble of anger around the crowd. We agreed to join the flotilla for joint protection. We did not agree to Ember's Hearth using the flotilla to secure the control of the moons. You realize Peter is addressing the crowd as much as he is addressing you. With the cordon down, our crews are more than able to acquire what is needed from the Eye, what is owed as restitution for keeping us restrained. He pats one of the crates you unloaded. What we need, we will take. Sol just wants to cooperate. Sol is a farmer. Even the people of Song know that he was simply the sole survivor of Hearth's leadership. His authority means nothing. Peter looks around at the crowd. Hearth think they can buy us, but we remembered the past. A rumble of agreement runs through the crowd. He smiles at them. Take the supplies if you wish, of course. We are not wasteful. Peter approaches you directly. The crowd tentatively moves forward, and by the time he reaches you, they are already dragging away crates and distributing the contents. I'm not one for shooting the messenger, Sleeper. But we cannot concede to Hearth here, not for a moment. I don't understand. I can see that. Peter sits beside you on the docking tunnel's lip. What was your plan, Sleeper? Unload the supplies and wait for someone to start throwing them back at you? He nods at the crowd rifling through the crates. Because that's what was about to happen. So I should thank you? My pleasure. What do you think happened to the crew of this shuttle? He shakes his head. They were chased out of this place. Why do they hate Hearth? We do not hate Hearth. We simply do not trust them. Do you know anything about Ember's moons, Sleeper? Or were you planning to wander into this flotilla totally blind? An objective outsider offering help. Educate me, then. It would be my pleasure. I'm going to assume you know the basics. The gas giant Ember has 7 moons. The 3 biggest are Ember's Steppe, Ember's Song, and Ember's Hearth. We can cover the 3 sisters next session. Steppe was the first to be settled. A contract old Solheim gave to the terraformers Cybele Systems when they first claimed the Hellion system. That's way back when. Steppe was a testing ground, and like most testing grounds, it didn't turn out too well. A partial atmosphere slowly sloughing off each orbit, a dysfunctional ecosystem, and a whole load of dust-clogged settlers. The place is a miserable desert long past its best before date. So, Cybele moved to Hoth, where they redoubled their efforts. The subsurface ocean and some balmy tidal heating helped, allowing them to build a real atmosphere, a real habitable world, a fact that the typical Hoth colonist won't let you ever forget. How did Cybele achieve such a thing, you might wonder? Well, that's where we come in. It's that same old role of surrogacy, the one humanity built our universe around. Peter claps a hand to his chest in mock pride. My moon, Ember's Song, is a sulfur-soaked rock covered in volcanoes, tidally heated by its inner orbit to sweltering temperatures. Exactly the kind of crucible you need to fuel a terraforming project. Energy, industry, fuel. Song provided the raw materials for Hoth. Willingly or not. And a crucible requires people to run it. Us singers, born into a flaming pit and asked to stoke it so others might live in a paradise in the making. That's what we had to endure until Solheim brought everything down. Peter rattles off the speech from memory, and you wonder how many times he has delivered it. No Solheim. No contract. No contract, no Cybele. And no Cybele meant 3 moons suddenly independent. Peter shakes his head. It was a war, Sleeper. Sometimes hot, sometimes cold, and unsurprisingly, Hoth and Steppe came out of it better than us. Yet, they need us, Sleeper. Always have. And so, we are the linchpin. We are the center around which the moons orbit, not swirling ember. We've resisted takeovers, sieges, and expansions, and now we'll resist this. Half the people on these ships think the flux was caused by Hoth, intentionally or otherwise. And I have to say, some cycles I agree. So before you come here to hand out supplies like a good soldier, maybe educate yourself. But you abandon Song. I want you to imagine what it is like to try to live on an airless, volcanic rock when every system that sustains you starts shutting down. He spits and wipes a sleeve across his mouth. We abandoned nothing. Some stayed, others left. But we will reclaim Ember as soon as the flux fades or ends. We've weathered worse. Don't you need the supplies? As I said, we will take what we need when we need it. There's no authority that we recognize here. I won't keep you from the docking access, Sleeper. No one here has the authority for that. But watch yourself here. Try to remember that the Eye is just another in the long list of people who have tried to control us. I understand. Then let it guide your actions. Look, we are many, and we have many needs. Ships come to this docking access for repairs, for requisitions, for friendship. You can provide these as well as any singer. If you want to help, help in your own name, Sleeper. Not in that of Hoth. Carry that name here and you'll lose all trust. Be as we are. Act in your own name alone. Peter puts a hand on your shoulder and stands. I hope I didn't just waste my time here, Sleeper. And with that, he walks away, back to the shrinking crowd that is distributing the last of the supplies amongst the crews present. You watch them pass the food and water between them. No signs of conflict between the crews, just a careful distribution of resources. Peter chats with a few crews, each of them casting looks in your direction, ones that reveal little about the singer's intentions. You stand. It seems the tensions on the flotilla run much deeper than you expected. This won't be easy. So what can we do here? As Peter said, the Singers will only trust you if you act independently of Hearth. Fulfilling supply requests is a good start. One of the ships is trying to establish a mushroom farm to help feed the crews. They're looking for spores to help get them started. We got plenty. And one of the Singer crews is looking for a ship mine to replace their flux-damaged core. That we can do. First, let me hand over the spores. The spores have been seeded, and while some may be suspicious of your efforts, crew by crew, you'll convince them. Alright. A ship mine. I have two fragments here. Let's head all the way down and see what we can find. Because maybe I can buy one somewhere. Is the ship in? Yes, I can buy a ship mine fragment. Perfect. I only need the one. Now, I don't think this is, okay, that's there. I don't need to deal with it. But I go to the fabricator, put these into it, and we have the ship mined. I'm glad I managed to have two already. That makes this a lot easier. Alright, let's head up and hand the ship mined in. It's a long scroll, but there you go. You supplied the ship mine, but in a way, it seemed to only make the crew more suspicious of you. As you cross the Axis looking for a shuttle to take you back to the ruined cordon, you spot Peter standing at the edge of the central hub. Something about the way he is leaning against the rail, looking down across the Axis and towards the blinking lights of the flotilla beyond, makes you pause. He is completely still, his head drooping low and his shoulders hunched high. Approach him. You lean on the railing a little way from Peter, leaving a gap between you. This close, you can see the blank stare in his eyes, the way his hands hang limply in front of him. He takes a minute to notice you. Sleeper? Still hanging around? Are you okay? Not really, no. Peter closes his eyes. You can feel his mind whirring, the thoughts refusing to be still. You know, Sleeper, no one asked you to come here. So why don't you just get lost? He looks directly at you, his stare a challenge. What's with you? Peter stands back from the railing. Who invited you, Sleeper? Who said you could come here? You think because the Hearthers decided to name you the errand boy, we have to put up with you? We don't want you here. We don't need you. His eyes burn with rage. Go home, you stupid machine! A second after he shouts that final line, he collapses in on himself, staying upright but all the energy going out of his body. He slumps back against the railing, his eyes closed once more. You wait. After a while, he speaks. I'm tired, Sleeper. Tired of everything. I'm tired of the empty paternalism of Hearth. I'm tired of the paranoid whining of the crews. I'm tired of the endless cycles that look the same, smell the same, feel the same. I'm tired of running, of hiding, of fixing every shitty thing that breaks out here. His shout echoes a little in the hub, but few stop to look. He looks down at his feet. I get it. I'm sorry, Sleeper. Something is... I don't feel okay. Just tired, I think. Really tired. I'm going to go. Get some sleep. Sleep well. Peter nods slowly, turning away. He raises a hand and drifts away towards the center of the hub. You turn back to the railing, not wanting to watch him go. Seeing him like this, you prefer not to stare. The traffic of the Axis rumbles on as you watch, under an endlessly shining sun. The same air recycled through all of these lungs, the same dust gathering speck by speck on the windows. You take a sharp breath, stand straight, and get moving, before the inertia of it all gets to you too. Is there more? There is. The more work you do for the Singers, the more you get to know the crews, the more they will trust you. We have the Axis job board. The Axis houses an overflowing job board of engineering tasks requested by the crews. You can help out here. And the Axis is as much a social hub as it is a supply hub. Keeping good relations with the crews will help them trust your work. Well, I can do something on the job board here. Oh, that's a tiny bit. I think that's what I'm going to work on focusing on getting done now. Go ahead with a work assignment. Let's go ahead with another repair and a rest. Hopefully we can do enough in order to get that done. Ooh, that's good rolls. Alright. At least we can fully do all this. Take a handful of jobs and work through them, sharing tips and chatting with the crews. Feel them warming to you. Fantastic. I do have another single, but I'm going to use it to regain energy. It'll take another cycle to finish up here, I think. Which is no big deal. There we go. Another repair, and then end the cycle. I feel like I've got a good cycle going for dealing with this. All I need is 2 more. Yep, a 5 and a 4. And you know what? I'll use the 5 here at crew socializing. Just to see what it says. Oh, that regains energy. You're taken under the wing of a riotous crew who give you a song-brewed spirit that burns like fire and leaves a lasting buzz. I didn't realize it gave me energy. That was actually very nice. There we go. Ooh, random scrap item. Sleeper! Peter calls to you as you cross the Axis. He is standing by the same railing as you saw him last time, and he beckons you over. I've been hearing things. He gives you a sidelong look. Good things? Mostly. He rubs his hands together nervously. You wait for him to speak. You know, on song, I was a teacher. He glances at you, anticipating a response. Really? Don't sound so surprised. Mechanical engineering. It's an essential subject on a moon where a single mechanical failure can mean the deaths of hundreds. The heat, the atmosphere, the radiation, all of it is hostile to us. My students knew this. Their work, their training was respected. As long as they were careful and respected song themselves, they could have their choice of colony placements. They were always in demand. That meant I was respected, surrounded by friends and colleagues, always able to call in favors and repay them like for like. Song colonies are small, close-knit. We look after our own. When the flux event started hitting, colonies went dark overnight. We all knew what those kinds of failures meant. Like always, we lost more people than any of the other moons. He balls his hands into tight fists. Not a single one of my students left song. Our future was cut off, just like that. My future. What am I out here? What use am I? Song is a fading memory, and the systems we built there are useless outside its orbit. How am I supposed to move on from here? He looks at you, eyes steely gray and glinting. Oh, you can try to find someone to teach. Peter pauses, thinking. You don't give up, do you, Sleeper? You just keep going. Peter shakes his head. You remind me of a student of mine, one who entered the program from one of the smaller colonies. They didn't have the advantages of some of the others, but they were stubborn. Stubborn as hell. By the end of the program, they were the most skilled of their peers. They didn't get the best assignment, maybe because they didn't spend much time making the kind of connections that would help you get there. But that didn't matter, because I knew they would make the best of anything they set themselves up to do. Peter is smiling now, buoyed up a little by memory. Singers are stubborn, Sleeper. We aren't going to change easily. We won't forgive easily or take help easily. We'll hold strong. You can count on us for that. Peter stands from the railing. When you see Sol again, you can tell him that. You can tell him how the crews of Ember Song operate. Tell him we will resist. If that means resisting Haas' imperialist ambition, so be it. If it means resisting the Flux, so be it. And if it means to, as you have, help others resist those same pressures, so be it. And then, tell him to leave us alone. He turns, his step lighter, and heads off towards the center of the Axis' hub. Alright. So that's that. But we're not fully done. We still need to help out the dust houses. And apparently we can do a bit here. We will need more. And do a roll. Oh, those are good rolls. You notice a bug in the wind cycling system and manage to fix it. Aki gives you a knowing look. It looks like you're proving yourself. And it looks like next cycle we'll be able to finish this off. Ooh, a little bit of cryo. It'll still be a couple more cycles for Climbing Briar to finish, but we'll do that eventually. For now, I'm going to put this in, end of the cycle, and I am going to end this episode here. Next episode, we'll see what we can do to help the third and final of the ships. Hopefully, they'll be happy with what we do. But that'll be in the next episode. So, until then, I am Chester44. I'll send in his fly. This has been a Let's Play of Citizen Sleeper, and I shall see you all next time.